Lena and I had been together for 6 years, married for 3. I genuinely believed we'd built something real, something unshakable. Ours wasn't just a romance. It was a partnership grounded in love, trust, and shared dreams. We talked about building a future, maybe starting a family, traveling the world. I thought we were aligned, heart, mind, and soul. But what I didn't know then was that the foundation I held so sacred had already begun to crack. Started subtly. A whisper in my gut. A quiet suspicion I tried to ignore. Lena had been off. First I chalked it up to stress, work maybe, or just a phase. But as time went on, the signs became harder to dismiss. She began coming home later than usual, offering vague explanations about staying late at work or grabbing drinks with the girls. Her phone, once casually left on the counter, never left her side. She guarded it like it contained state secrets. Screen always face down, always on silent. Her affection began to dull. The kisses she gave felt hollow, routine. Her "I love you" started to sound like a line in a script. Flat, rehearsed, mechanical. It was like I was living with a beautifully crafted imitation of my wife. And still I tried to believe. Still I hoped I was wrong. But then came the moment that stripped away any doubt. It was a random evening, nothing special. She was in the shower, and her phone lit up on the nightstand. I wasn't snooping, at least I didn't intend to. But when that screen lit up, something in me shifted. A message preview glowed through the dim room. "Can't wait to see you again, baby. Last night was amazing." A red heart punctuated the sentence. The sender, Mark. My heart didn't just sink, it imploded. My stomach twisted, and my hands clenched without me realizing. That one message shattered the illusion I'd been clinging to. And yet, I didn't confront her. Not immediately. I knew if I wanted the truth, I couldn't go off emotions alone. I needed proof. Unshakable, undeniable evidence. So I played my part. Smile. Laugh. Acted like everything was fine. Meanwhile, I was collecting fragments of betrayal. Her call logs were full of late-night conversations with the same number. "Work stuff," she'd say. "But there's nothing professional about whispering to someone at 1:37 a.m. A few nights later, she told me she was meeting the girls for dinner. A wine bar they loved. I waited 10 minutes, then followed her. She didn't go to that wine bar. She went to a cozy little restaurant across town. Candlelight. Intimate. She was with him. I watched through the window as she reached for his hand, laughing softly, gazing at him like he was the center of her world. The way she used to look at me. I could have stormed in. I could have ended it right there, made a scene, shattered the fantasy she was living. But I had something better in mind. Our 3rd wedding anniversary was coming up, and Lena had been going on about it for weeks. Talking about how special she wanted it to be. How she already had a dress picked out. She was still playing the part of the loving wife, still weaving her lies. So I decided to let her live the fantasy one last time. I made a reservation at one of the city's most elegant restaurants. Somewhere romantic, dramatic, the kind of place where you go to make memories. And I told her this night would be unforgettable. She was thrilled. She probably thought I was clueless. That I was still the fool she'd been deceiving. She wore the red dress she wore on our first date. Maybe hoping to stir up nostalgia. Maybe hoping I'd fall for her all over again. I played the doting husband to perfection. Compliments. Mail. I even opened the car door for her. She didn't suspect a thing. When we arrived, the hostess led us to a private table. Set for 3. Lena paused. 3? She asked, her brow furrowed. I smiled gently, casually pulling out my phone. Quick text. "He's on his way," I said. 30 seconds later, Mark walked in. The color drained from Lena's face like someone had flipped a switch. Her jaw fell slightly open, but she said nothing. She looked at me, then at him, then back to me, as if reality itself was betraying her. I leaned back, arms folded. "Aren't you going to introduce us?" She blinked. Her breathing was shallow now, fast. I don't." Mark was equally thrown. His eyes darted between us. He clearly had no idea who I was. "Mark, right?" I said calmly. I've heard a lot about you. You must be really special, considering how much time my wife spends with you. The silence was electric. Wait, wife, Mark said, his voice rising with disbelief. Lena's mouth trembled. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, she said, almost a whisper. I held up a hand. Don't worry, babe. I just thought it'd be nice for us all to celebrate together. Since you've been splitting your time between the two of us. Her eyes welled up with tears. Please, let's talk about this in private. Oh no, I said, shaking my head. No more secrets. Isn't that what relationships are built on? People at nearby tables had begun to stare. A few whispered behind menus. Mark turned to Lena, devastated. You told me you were single, he said, voice cracking. Mark, please. Explain what? That you lied to me. That you played both of us. Her face crumpled. For the first time in weeks I felt nothing. No anger. No grief. Just a quiet clarity. Strange, liberating peace. I stood slowly, reached into my pocket, and pulled out my wedding ring. I placed it gently on the table between us. Keep it, I said, my voice even. Maybe you can give it to him. Then I slid the ring across the table toward Mark. It tapped against a wine glass with a sharp, cold clink. She's all yours, man. Good luck. Mark's hands gripped the table's edge like he was holding himself back from exploding. He stared at Lena, eyes full of betrayal. You were married this whole time, he whispered. She reached for him again. I can explain. He recoiled, standing quickly. His chair screeched across the floor. You're unbelievable, he muttered, shaking his head. I didn't stay to watch the rest. I turned, adjusted my jacket, and walked out into the cool night air. Behind me, I could hear her sobbing, Mark's footsteps echoing somewhere behind. But I never looked back. That night I lost a wife. But I reclaimed something far more valuable. My dignity, my peace. And for the first time in a very long time, felt free.